Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says Iran was lying when it said it sold drones to Russia only before the invasion of Ukraine. Moscow says it's been using only Russian-made drones in the conflict.
With accusations rife that Iran is supplying Russia with drones in its war with Ukraine, Iran's foreign minister offered his most detailed remarks to date at a defense meeting in Tehran.
Regarding the outcry started by some Western countries, saying the Islamic Republic of Iran has provided Russia with missiles and drones to help it with the war in Ukraine, the missile part is completely false. The drone part is true. We gave a limited number of drones to Russia months before the Ukraine war.
Not true, says Ukraine's president, who claims that his troops are shooting down 10 Iranian-made drones daily and that the supplies are ongoing. Volodymyr Zelenskyy issued this warning to Tehran.
If Iran continues lying about the obvious, it means that the world will make even more efforts to investigate the terrorist cooperation between the Russian and Iranian regimes. And what Russia is paying Iran for such cooperation. These terrorists or their accomplices cannot remain unpunished in the modern world.
There has been a surge of drone attacks in Ukraine in recent weeks, targeting energy and civilian infrastructure. Western countries have imposed sanctions on Iran over alleged sales of the weapons to Russia. Moscow claims that the drones it uses in combat are Russian-made and not of Iranian origin. Iran's foreign minister says that if there is proof that that's not the case, Tehran will not remain indifferent.
Let's bring in Russia analyst Konstantin Egot, who's joining us from Vilnius in Lithuania. Konstantin, in your assessment, how big a difference are these drones making in the Kremlin's war on Ukraine?
Michael, they do make a difference. These drones are cheap. Some estimates go as low as $10,000 per piece. They're relatively small. The wingspan is 2.5 meters. Imagine you can basically assemble it in your living room. They seem to be effective, especially against static targets. And Russia has definitely been using them to deplete Ukrainian high-tech weaponry, on the one hand. On the other hand, definitely to attack the civilian infrastructure. And this is, I think, what is very important, because now with the Kremlin aims being always vague, but now being basically what can be achieved, it seems that Moscow is betting on such destruction of Ukrainian civilian infrastructure, especially energy infrastructure, that Ukraine will sue for peace. And I think that in this respect, Iranian drones are quite an effective weapon.
According to the Washington Post, the U.S. has been privately encouraging Ukraine to signal an openness to negotiate with Russia, as the paper put it. Do you see any chance that Putin is interested in negotiations?
Well, Putin is always interested in negotiations on his own conditions. And if Washington indeed tries to encourage the government of Volodymyr Zelenskyy to open some kind of channel to Moscow, then I actually also believe it too, because it seems that the U.S. administration, which is really committed to supporting Ukraine, is starting to understand that basically the destruction of Ukrainian civilian infrastructure and possible humanitarian consequences of this Russian action could weigh very heavily on Washington's support for Ukraine, and especially that is especially important in view of the upcoming midterm elections, where quite a few isolationist Republicans may start criticizing or actually questioning the White House's policy. So I do believe that there is a possibility that the U.S. is privately urging Zelenskyy to start talking to Putin, and in such circumstances, Putin will see it as Ukraine's weakness and will try to take advantage of that.
Russia analyst Konstantin Egot, many thanks.
Thank you.